Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday again, the 14th of September. It is time for round 7 of the Prime Meridian Racing League from the Pocono Raceway. It is the penultimate round of the season. Just 2 more races to go. 5 points separate the 2 championship leaders in Will Lyon and Jesper Uhrmann in that same order. And we are going to be racing for 100 laps around this 2.5 mile super speedway tonight. And before we dive into the, well, let's say additionals for the broadcast, let's dive into the usual pre-race stuff first and talk about the track real quick and also the point standings, but of course that will come later on. So looking at the track map right here first, 3 turns around this Pocono Raceway. Turn 1 modeled after Trenton Speedway from way back in the past. Turn 2 modeled after Indianapolis. Turn 3 after the Milwaukee Mile, which we do not run in PMRL perhaps yet, I don't know. Quiet hint to Jessica to maybe put it on the season 5 schedule, but anyway. We got 3 turns as I mentioned, banked at 14 degrees in turn 1, 8 degrees in turn 2 and 6 degrees in turn 3. Pit lane speed is 55 miles per hour, 89 kilometers per hour. Already covered the track length, 2.5 miles, which is 4.023 kilometers. And of course no push to pass on the ovals. Then we're gonna look at, well, the rest of the schedule for what's left of it anyways. We go to Pocono tonight and next week the final race of the season at Road America, which might be a championship deciding race. We'll have to wait and see how this race goes first. But that is all dependent on the championship standings, which are right here. You can see Will Lyon leads it by 5 points over Jesper Uhrmann for Indy Alliance Racing, Will for SMS Racing. Those 2 teams very close in the teams as well, but we'll cover those in just a second. Cesar Cabral sits in the 3rd position. He is about, if I can read it correctly, he is 11 points clear of Sam Moyle in the 4th position, then Daniel Dinsdale in 5th. And he is tied with Connie Naslund for 5th, by the way. So those positions all very close as well. It's really a battle from 3rd until, what is it? 11th. With Jalbarilla Garcia there with 107 points. All those positions still up for grabs in the points championship, so look for that to be important in the coming, well, laps here tonight and the next week's race at Road America. But looking at the team's points as well, there you go. SMS leads it by 34 over Indy Alliance Racing. Then we got Team Matsuger in the 3rd position, who are actually doing a really great job this season. Mostly an oval team, and on the road and street courses they have been doing very decently as well. So good to see them in the top 3. Taylor Mills Racing in 4th position, and then the 2nd feeder team to IR is in the 5th position. Then we got the rest of the teams as well. So before we go into the starting grid, I want to welcome Danny Brennan once again for the 2nd race in a row. Hello, Danny.
Hey Julian, it's great to be back and invading the commentary box once again. I'm ready to go. This is going to be awesome. And even if the championship can't be decided tonight, an early crash for either Will Lyon or Jesper Uhrmann will put them massively back. So it's going to be a good one. I think that's a bit of an understatement.
Oh, for sure. Pocono always provides a great race, especially in the PMRL. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top, of course. If you followed the previous broadcasts of the PMRL, we've always talked about how good Will Lyon is on the road and street courses and how good Jesper Uhrmann is on the ovals. Of course, this is more Jesper Uhrmann's background on the ovals, the super speedway. Then, of course, next week's race will be more Will Lyon's things. So we're quickly going to cover the starting grid as the cars are gridding up, getting ready for the pace lap. As we look at the grid right here. So bringing up the qualifying results here. It is going to be Jesper Uhrmann on the pole position, 23 thousandths of a second clear of Thomas Kletsens for Spirit Box. We got Cesar Cabral in the 3rd position. Then we got Will Lyon on the outside of row 2. Then we have Indy Alliance Racing on row 3 with Thomas Christensen and Connie Naslund. Daniel Dinsdale, Seb Alexander row 4. Matthew Turner, Christian Flaker row 5. And then we got Sam Moyle, Matthew Levine, Jalbarilla Garcia, Taylor Mills, Xavier Heredia, Manuel Gomez Esteban, Carlos Espada, Tobias Nara, and then the rest of the field, which we will bring up right here. Mauro Ramirez making his first start in the league, and of course, well, the 3 names at the bottom of the screen are all admins, including Gary, Danny, and, well, Danny is a commentator, of course, here in the booth with me, but Jessica also an admin of the league, so they will not be taking the green flag. So 19 cars with us here today, and as we mentioned, 5 points between the championship leaders. Going to be an interesting first lap with Will starting 4th and Jesper starting from the pole. They will be very close to each other when we go into turn 1. So field makes their way around turn 2. Just got about half a pace lap to go until we go green here for the Pocono 250, the final Triple Crown race of the season, and also the final oval of the schedule. So it's really the last race for Jesper to make a big statement, I guess you could say, in the championship. And of course for Will, it's all about damage limitation on this oval, because if you aren't familiar with ovals, it's more about driving with your head than it is with talent. So we're gonna see how it all plays out. We got Jesper Ullman on the pole, Thomas Klessens alongside him on the front row. We are getting ready to go for 100 laps around Pocono Raceway. Pace car is off. Jesper Ullman leads us to the green flag.
Green flag.
Already briefly full wide there as Jesper tries to break the draft into turn 1.
Lying to the high side, looking for second already.
Yes, looking way up top for that clean air, already up to second. Down the back straight, he gets by Thomas Klessens, as everybody is moving around to try and get a position as we have the first incident. Taylor Mills is involved in that, I saw that in the corner of my eye. Tobias Nara also involved, and we got the first caution of the race on the first lap.
And that's something we avoided last week at Michigan. This week, though, different story. Mills looks to be completely destroyed.
And so is Jabarilla Garcia. He's got damage on the right side of the car. Carlos Espada started from the pits. He got through that all clear. And Mauro Ramirez without a front wing in that beautiful VOR car. I wonder who designed that paint. It was me. Looking good. So, but everybody that is running apart from Mauro, without damage, I don't think. But of course, we've got 2 cars in the pits, Jabarilla Garcia and Taylor Mills. So let's go back and see what happened here. And actually, let's go back to the green flag itself and look at it from Taylor Mills. And why don't we go on board here with the 41 car, looking from the shoulder, or the headrest, I guess you could say, inside the aero screen. Green flag is out right here as the field accelerates. And you can see just a car up in front that might have been Matthew Levine, I think it is, in the 69, just getting shut the door, I guess, by Christian Flaker. Going around the outside here is Taylor Mills. And there's contact between Taylor and Matthew Levine down the back straight, and then Taylor gets clipped by a car behind, and I think that is Mauro. Where is Mauro? Maybe we can pick him up. There he is. It was not Mauro, it was Jabarilla Garcia that clipped him. So let's go back a little bit further here and find it again.
Yeah, it looks just like Mills maybe misjudged it there.
Yeah,
maybe just didn't misjudge the location of her front wing against the rear wing of Matt Levine.
Yeah, that was definitely the case. As you could see on the right side of the screen, that the contact between those two happened, and then Jabarillo, not sure if he saw what was going on, maybe focused on the cars up ahead, but either way there was contact between Garcia and Mills, which really took them both out of the race.
Yeah, and it looks to me as well, I don't know if it's a case where Mills would feel she was maybe she maybe should have been allowed a bit more room, but she wasn't really side by side with Levine, kind of 3 wide. It was just kind of coming to that, and Levine was following the cars in front to get a bit of draft up on the high side. So it looks like just a bit of a clumsy coming together in the first lap. These things happen, and for Garcia, kind of nowhere to go, but also at its Pocono looked like a bit of an arc break, and yeah, straight into the back of Mills.
Definitely. So we got the first takers for pit road, and we've got quite a few cars in actually. As Manuel Gomez Esteban, I believe, was also one of those who pitted, and yes, he was correct. No, that's not correct. That was Xavier Heredia who pitted. Difficult to see on the timing screen sometimes when it's all so close together, but everybody from 13th on to the back of the field has pitted for either repairs or just a top off on fuel. Mills and Garcia still in the pits, Espada as well. Not sure if there's damage for him, but Matthew Levine for sure getting damage repaired. Might have damaged the suspension on the rear, so he's going to get that repaired, but other than that I don't think he will have too much damage, so should be good to continue if he gets back out on track on the lead lap, at least, that is. And so is Mauro Ramirez in the 14th position in the VOR car. Bit last minute for him to race here tonight. but glad to have him in the field, of course, sporting the VUR livery. We got the Indy 500 kilometer race coming up on Saturday in VUR, so check it out for sure. You got some links in the description to check it out. Some prizes as well involved, and some members of the PMRL also racing in it. Of course, speaking of the PMRL, we should have some news about Season 5 coming out soon. And of course, if you want to be a part of that, definitely join the Discord, because Season 5 is going to be just as great, if not better than this one. And you can get on the grid with all these drivers, like Jesper Urman, like Will Lyon, who are first and second on the racetrack right now as well, the two championship rivals. We've got Connie Nassut in the third position. So a pretty solid start from Connie as well, up 3 spots from the start. And the biggest mover at the moment, Manuel Gomez Esteban, from 16th up into 12th. And so is Mauro Ramirez, by the way, from 18th into 14th.
Yeah, no surprise that it's the two championship contenders that got the best start of anybody in the field, in terms of those up front anyway. Will Lyon really nailed that start. He's on top of it. So as much as ovals are seen maybe as less of a strength of Will Lyon's game, it does not mean he's bad at them by any means. He is still very competitive in the oval races so far this year. I think he's been in the top 5 in all of them. He was third back there in Michigan 2 weeks ago, so I wouldn't necessarily just put it as a W in the column for Jesper Urman just yet. Will, as he proved on that start, has plenty of oval knowledge. He knows his way around too. And both of them, you mentioned at the start, it's all about keeping your heads. These two have the right mentality to go at it and to keep their cars clean throughout the duration of the 100 laps.
Speaking of those 100 laps, about the fuel windows, we completely forgot to mention those. It should be around 30 laps under green. Of course, if you're leading, that will be about 29 laps, because you're burning more fuel in the clean air. It's pushing a bigger hole in the air compared to the rest of the field, but yeah, around 30 laps is the number that you have to keep in mind. So Jesper at the moment out in front. He will burn the most fuel if he stays where he is. Will Lyon, we're going to try to look to save that fuel as best as he can to go as long as possible. So pace car back in again. Jesper Urman, second in the championship, going to lead us to green.
Green flag, green flag.
Gets a solid jump of the green flag command. That's Will Lyon. Tries to pick up the draft here. Also Connie Nassut in behind. The top 3 breaking away a little bit from the rest of the field as Klessens joins them as well now. But Nassut to the inside of Will. And Jesper going to wisely give drive to his teammates, to try and get his teammate ahead of Will as well. Connie going to have a look to the inside and might go for it. Yes, he will.
Oh, it's getting close. Could it be 3 wide into 3?
They make it through cleanly though. That's the most important thing, as Jesper Urman, almost contact between the two teammates there, it looked like. But it's a 1-2 for Indy Alliance racing across the line. Will Lyon challenging up the inside again for turn 1. Trying to regain that second position, but he falls back in line.
And that's an important restart move from AAR to get aligned there. Try and get their 2 cars in the line. But, well, Lyon's not giving up, though. He's looking at the outside again. But AAR already playing the team game well.
Yes, and that's what you need to do if you're Jesper Urman, trying to get as many teammates in between yourself and Will Lyon as possible. As Klessens is having a look on the outside as well, now looking all the way up top for that clean air. Might get a big run out of turn 3 here. Not as big as I thought. Will slides up just in front of Connie. That was close between those two. So look further in the back of the field. Also some battles going on here. Mauro Ramirez looking on the back of Sam Moyle. With those two spreading out there. So we'll go back to the leaders right away, to not miss anything up front.
That was a close one for Will Lyon. I don't know how he kept it out of the wall. From my perspective watching, it looked like he was certain to hit it, but now he's going for the lead, it looks like.
Yep, there he goes to the race lead away from the screens. We're following the battle for P6 it is, right behind Seb Alexander, as Christensen gets a great run out of turn 2 as we see the front runner snaking around the track, but We got Matthew Turner up the inside here of 2 IAR cars into turn 2, the tunnel turn. Let's see if he can make it through cleanly. Oh, that's a bit close there between Turner and Christensen. Turner now looking on Seb Alexander to try and get another position here. P7 doesn't get the run. Oh, actually did get that position. That's Dinsdale, sorry. It's always so confusing, those SMS cars. They all look exactly the same apart from the number. But Jesper Irma now back to the lead, and those two, Will and Jesper, swapping the lead at the moment as Conor Nassen is slipping back a little bit. So Klessen's up in the third. As Will once again gets back in the race lead. We'll talk about this a lot tonight. Just swapping around the lead.
Pocono, at the same time, track position is important. You don't want to slip too far back because the dirty air back in the pack is worse than it is in Michigan, at least in my experience with these setups. So it is imperative kind of to keep yourself in those first kind of 3 positions when you are swapping the lead and swapping for a fuel number.
I'm wondering if Connie is running map 5 because he is really falling back quite a lot. So he might be hoping for a few more yellows to try and make it on 2 stops. Of course, you already got the first yellow, which will extend the first fuel stint for a few laps. Expecting pit stops around lap 33, 34 maybe. Oh, as Klessen's almost got the wall, or maybe he got it. I'm not sure exactly. We'll follow Klessen's all the way around this lap for just a moment because I want to see if he clipped the wall or not. As there we see the move for the lead, Will Lyon to the race lead. So on board with Klessen's here in the dirty air on the replay. Going into turn 3. Got Will entering the corner in the center, then going down low. Jesper in the middle, and there you can see the push of Klessen's. Oh, I just missed it. That was a great catch there of the understeer. Oh! I'm not sure if it's my screen or not, but everything is looking oh so close today. It almost looked like Jesper got into the back of Will Lyon on my screen.
Yeah, it's they're not holding back, are they? No one's told them, hey, hold up, there's still another 88 laps of this race to go. It's great to see. It's great to see the battling. There's little holding back we saw in Michigan.
Exactly, yeah, but the racing here is kind of different, like you already mentioned, because the dirty air here is so much more important than it is at Michigan, because at Michigan you have more banking to lean on, you also have a wider track surface to drive on, or I guess I should say the racing roof is wider. You can basically run all over the track there at Michigan, and at Pocono it's really one at most 2 lanes wide, as Will Lyon falls back in line behind Jesper, trying to set him up for another run down into turn 2. But everybody else, apart from the top 2, slowly but surely spreading out. As we got Mauro Ramirez also making a move there on Christian Flaker up the inside for turn 2. Into the top 10. As Sam Moyle falling back behind the top 11. The gap is around a second. So perhaps some damage. Or saving fuel. As Jesper and Will again going at it into turn 1. So about halfway through the first stint. Again, with that first yellow on the opening lap, I'm expecting pit stops out around lap 33, lap 34. Is the number these drivers can probably stretch it to if they save a little bit of fuel. But the top 3 clearly going at it, not saving any fuel, it seems like. As the top 3 are breaking about 8 tenths away from Dinsdale in 4th, and then Dinsdale and Christensen also breaking away from Naslund and the rest of the field. So the gap's definitely growing. Look at that big run that Will Lyon gets on Jesper down the back straight. That was a perfect camera angle right there to show the closing rates. As Will takes the race lead back again. I don't know if you counted the lead changes, Danny, but I've lost them. And we might have lost Danny for just a second there. He is using mobile data to join the booth virtually, so hopefully he can rejoin us soon. As the top 2 continue to swap around. But interesting to note, the 2 IR cars of Christensen and Naslund still running where they started. As Carlos Espada is on pit road. Is that a scheduled stop or not? I do not think it is. Standing in the pits, Garcia also in the pits. He got damage. I can see that on the front, got no front wing on the car. So it seems we lost 2 more cars as we have 14 cars running on the lead lap right now. Manuel Gomez Esteban being the last one of those at the moment. But going back to the action itself, Mauro Ramirez biggest mover, up 9 spots. So doing a great job right now, up half the field he's already passed.
Which is not a bad job by any means, especially considering he just jumped into the PMRL tonight. He's doing well.
Yeah, Mauro did race here last week though at Pocono in the International IndyCar League. I almost called it the US IndyCar League, which it was called beforehand. But yeah, Mauro had a pretty solid race there. Made a small mistake, got involved in something, and that meant he only finished 9th in that race. But still, in that race it looked very promising, and doing the same thing here again tonight. Not sure if he can make it all the way to the end in terms of personal time-wise, because Mauro, big family man, he's got to pick up his daughter from school later on today. He's from the US, so hopefully for him he can make it through the entire race. We got 1 yellow, so hopefully for Mauro we can keep it clean until the end so he can finish it all off. But at the front, Will Lyon is now under pressure from Thomas Klessens as Jesper Urman now slips back into 3rd. And he might have decided to chuck it into map 5, save some fuel. As Dinsdale and Christensen now right behind as well. So those 2 closing the gap to the front runners.
Yeah, and looks like it's kind of a 5-car breakaway pack here. I don't know if Naslund would pick up any draft, about 1.1 seconds behind. It's right on the edge, so if they all work together, we could have the front 5 pulling away. But I'm not necessarily sure that's what Orman would want. Or Lyon. Because, of course, both of them are missing teammates here outside of the top 5.
Exactly, good point. But lap 20 of 100, we got Thomas Klessens moving into the race lead just a moment ago into turn 1. As Will gonna line him up again now to try and retake that position, I think. Or is he? Yeah, he's gonna save fuel behind. Definitely saw him lift off, had a big run into turn 1, but decided not to go for anything there, but sit behind. So Dinsdale up 3 spots in the 4th position right now, doing a pretty decent job as well. It's pretty unheard of, by the way, that Will Lyon could be crowned a 4-time champion next race. 4 championships in a row. It could be for the Scot, as he already won the championships in seasons 1, 2 and 3, of course.
And considering the level of competition in PMRL, I mean, it's been pretty high all those 4 seasons. We've seen a lot of good drivers come in and try their hand, and Will Lyon's been by far the most consistent driver, I think, in the series history, and it shows itself.
Definitely, 100%, that is correct. And also in the first season it was already competitive, like you said, but every season it's been growing as well. So that makes it even more impressive that he is able to compete at this level for so long. In the PMRL, of course, Jesper Urman really isn't terrible at all, even on the road and street courses. It's not his expertise, but he's not bad at them at all as well. So just goes to show how good of a driver both Will Lyon and Jesper Orman, for that matter, are. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go up against each other for the final 2 races. Of course, we are almost a quarter into the second to last race, or the penultimate race, I guess. So I'm losing my English there for just a second, but
that second to last works as well.
All right, I did get it right. Okay, perfect. I almost thought I messed up the terminology there, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's either or. It's fine. Well done, Julian.
Yeah.
Clap, clap. I was going to clap, but I'm using push to talk, so it's kind of difficult.
That's pretty difficult, yeah. So, Jesper now got Daniel Dinsdale up the inside as, not Jesper. Daniel almost pushed up into Jesper there out of turn 3, but backed out of it wisely there. As we got SMS in the top 4 right now, and also in the Alliance in the top 4. We got Spirit Box out in the lead. I don't think we've mentioned Spirit Box at all as a team name all season long, so there you go. Thomas Klessens for Spirit Box.
Yeah, Klaasen's a pretty good driver. He's been in PMRL from season 1, from what I remember. We were racing against him. So good to see him up front and kind of mixing it with those who are up here every single week. And at Pocono, it's no mean feat. It's called the Tricky Triangle for a reason. This is a difficult track. You have to be precise with all of your inputs. You can't miss one turn in, one apex. You have to be on it, and at the minute, Klaasen's doing the job.
Speaking of hitting those apexes, it reminds me of something that a few people have said, and I'm one of those people as well. Pocono Raceway, it basically drives like a road course, which only goes left. It sounds kind of funny, because that's basically every oval in a way. But Pocono is so flat that it really does drive like a road course. You really have to lift off sometimes if you get a good run, and also even have to tap the brakes sometimes to get the car to point into the right direction to try and make it turn better as well. So it just really goes to show that Pocono is the tricky triangle, like you mentioned. So much going into getting it right here around this place that sometimes you don't think of. So all the drivers at the moment getting it right though, as Klessens holding on to the lead at the moment, but I think everybody behind saving some fuel. 26 laps into this thing, about 6-7 laps away from the first round of pit stops. Scheduled stops anyway.
Yeah, and if we go green to the end, which is a possibility, we saw long green stretches at Michigan last, or 2 weeks ago, then the pit stops are going to be where you can make a massive difference. If you can get in and out of the box about maybe even a second and a half quicker than your competitor, then you're breaking draft and you're really making yourself a noticeable gap.
One of the SMS cars just got dangerously close to the wall, and I think it is Will Lyon, because he is now under pressure from teammate Daniel Dinsdale as he completes the pass. I'm not sure if he actually hit it or not, but it really did look like it. So we'll keep an eye on his performance, as Christensen now looking as well to get by. I'm really hopeful he didn't. Trying to pay attention to the steering wheel here, if it's pointing any differently for Will Lyon to teammate Dinsdale. It looks about the same, so he might have gotten away with it with just a little brush, which didn't do any damage.
Yeah, I looked back, I don't think Lyon hit the wall, so I think he's all good.
Perfect. So we got 72 laps to go, still running under green. Didn't do it the first yellow, so we'll quickly do it. We'll get right back into the action, but gotta put in the sponsor words here as well. Voppzy iRacing paints, of course, all season long. We've been mentioning it. Voppzy, lowercase iRacing on Instagram is the place to be. Vilda Wallen does these epic iRacing paints for not just IndyCars, but also plenty of other cars on the iRacing surface. So if you need a new Lotus 79 paint with the new template, Vilda is the person to contact on Instagram.
Liz by Voppzy iRacing pant.
Exactly.
Liz by. That's just the proper pronunciation. I'm keeping you right, Julian. Okay.
I don't know. I don't even know how we got to that pronunciation. We got it 2 weeks ago. We just stuck with it, I guess. Voppzy iRacing pants. Yes.
It's the European pronunciation.
I guess you could say it's the Swedish pronunciation, right?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Is it? Wait, Sweden is Scandinavia, so it doesn't really make sense. Oh, whatever.
Europe, it's still Europe at the same time.
It's on the European continent, let's just say that. So Naslund on the outside of Cabral now. Cabral slipping back from the start of the race. He was just running in 6th, now slipping to 7th.
Yeah, they're kind of swapping for the lead of the second pack of cars, which goes back as far as Seb Alexander and Flacker as well in 10th and 11th. So they're just about hanging on to the draft from Christensen and the likes, the tail end of that first pack, so it's just about keeping them in, but they're going to have to keep swapping the lead of the second pack to really keep in touch.
We've got Turner now making a move, or looking to make a move from Cabral as well. Got a great run out of turn 3, but at the moment, all these cars in the second pack not really working together, it seems like it to me at least. As Naslund is running away with that position from Cabral just a moment ago, but like you saw, a bit of error push involved there as well, which brings me to this fun graphic. The weather. So we are racing at 8 AM in the sim, which is, well, interesting. But 22 degree air temperature, only a 23 degree track temperature, so it's very cool, literally. So that will promote for some closer racing, but as the day goes on in the race, that should go up by a few degrees. So look for the error push to become more and more important as the day goes on. As we also bring in the dashboard for the speeds.
And just as a note, Thomas Klassen's hitting pit road on lap 32, so he's a lap earlier than most of the leaders. And he led for a lot of this opening stints, so it's not surprising that he doesn't quite have the same mileage.
Yeah, and Levine also follows him in, I believe, or is he still on the pits from damage? Let me quickly look. Yes, it is from the damage that he got earlier. So Klassen's the only one pitting at the moment. As he rejoins, was he good with the blue line there on the exit? It looked like he crossed it with 2 wheels. I'm not sure if iRacing allows that or not. The rule is you shouldn't cross it, but sometimes iRacing has this lenience that you can do it. But Samuel, Flaker and Gomez Esteban are also in the lap after Klassen's pitted. So everybody slowly but surely making their way down into the pits, as all these drivers taking fresh Firestones and Speedway fuel in the car to go at it for another, hopefully for them, 2 to 3 laps to make it on one more stop after this one.
And looks like the leaders have really managed their fuel well. So they've outpaced the mid-pack, and also they've been getting better fuel mileage. So that's very interesting to note as we see some rejoins in front of the leaders. Looks like they're all safe.
Yep, everybody being told to hold the inside line when they exit the pits. So everybody doing that just about there, as we saw one car move up the track in turn 1 there. But Cesar Cabral pulling into the box as well now. Seb Alexander in as well. He overshot his pit box here as well, but also on the pit entry I saw him slide into the pit speed zone. So,
and just heard the call from Dinsdale on the driver radio. Looks like SMS are both pitting. Yes, Dinsdale and Lyon in.
And these are the big important stops of the day. The first round of those anyway, between the championship rivals, who align the first of those two to do so. With Team Dinsdale, like you said. So let's see what they can do in the pits here. If they can pull out any gap on Jesper Urman and Christensen up in the race lead, who are still staying out. As Will stops it in the box. Angles his car slightly inward so he can pull away a little bit easier. There we go. Oh, Will's being held for a little longer there, so Dinsdale goes by. Gets that position up into P5 at the moment. As Naslund now in, and Jesper Urman now in the pits as well. Got to be careful to not speed. Yes, he slows it down just in time.
And maybe surprising to see Christensen continuing on for another lap, because obviously if him and Orman come out at the same time of the pits, they can both draft each other, maybe getting a bit of advantage. So interesting to see a bit of a split in the team there, where you had both the SMS cars dive in the same lap.
Well, this might also be covering the win, because that is the biggest gap in the points as well. So if Christian, for example, he is on a pretty good strategy in my opinion at the moment, because he is staying out the longest compared to everybody else. He's got the least laps that he needs to finish on the one stop to make it to the end. So in that sense, I guess he is on the better strategy in that regard. But yeah, there you can see the two leaders going by for SMS Racing, as Jesper Urman rejoins in 4th position at least virtually. As Christensen still yet to pit. Mauro Ramirez now also in that blue and black VOR car. With Let's Race sponsorship on it too. Stops it in the box. And now Christensen
they've got
also
lap
in.
37, that's impressive.
Yep, lap 37. So that is 64 laps to go. So 32 lap stints are possible with saving fuel. And we know that the Indy Alliance cars are good at saving fuel, especially Jesper Urman.
And I'm not sure how many laps it's been since the first restart, but I would say it's around 32, so Christensen and Ramirez are hitting the number at the minute. That's massive if the race stays green.
Yeah, they've done, well, 33 laps on the green. It was lap 40 we went back to green, I believe, starting lap 4. And, of course, we ran under caution from lap 2 onwards then. So I guess you could say that is 34, 35 laps of a fuel run under green, roughly. Don't know the exact numbers, of course, just trying to make an estimate here with the caution laps. Saving fuel, of course, as you're running at a much slower pace, and also map 8 for that measure too. So Klassen still out in the lead, though. He was the first to pit, and he is still running in that lead. So he is cutting the air for Daniel Dinsdale, who has moved up into 2nd position. So a great pit cycle for the SMS guys, as Will up in the 3rd now. Got Christensen in 4th and Jesper dropping to 5th.
So by my count, it was a 32 lap stint for Christensen. So him and Ramirez the only two to hit 32. So they might have just nailed this one, because it's going to be very difficult, I would say, for the likes of Orman to make up an extra lap on top of what Christensen is already saving to get to 32.
This is going to be very interesting, especially at the end, as we got another caution. Christian Lopez Flaker has crashed. And he is already towed to the pits, so we cannot see what happened to him live, but we'll quickly bring up a replay from this. Here we go, on the inside of Seb Alexander, out of turn 1, and Seb gets into the back of him. I'm not sure if Flaker lifted off there to try and counter the aero push, or, well, aero push, the understeer in the car.
Looked like there might have been a bit of netcode involved, unfortunately. Don't know if Alexander actually hit him.
We'll find out right now as we look at it from the slow-mo angle. From the top, as you can see, Flaker washes up a little bit. Seb on the middle of the track, right behind Flaker right now, as Flaker gets loose a little bit there, it seems to me. And Seb just clips him. I couldn't see if it was netcode though, so let's go on board here with Seb, if I can find this on board. There we go. On board with Seb Alexander here. Let's see if he actually hit him or not. It might have been just a little brush with the front wing. But a little bit excessive, I guess you could say, for Flaker to completely spin out like that. So maybe a little bit of netcode, but I'm not sure how significant that was.
I think on my end at least it was netcode, but it's iRacing, so my netcode is your solid contact.
You're using this, the mobile data as well, so...
And the potato laptop, which, yeah. It's a time here.
If you want me to, I can share you my screen as well, if that helps. We did that 2 weeks ago at Michigan.
Nah, I'm all good. I had a bit of an issue, maybe 10 laps in, but it's all sorted now, so we're running smoothly. Just a bit potato-y.
Perfect. So everybody, except for Dinsdale, Lyon, Christensen, Turner, and Mauro Ramirez, making their way down into the pits, they are all going to top off on fuel, which is a very good call, because right now you're going to save about 4 or 5 laps more of fuel with that top off on fuel. Of course, remember that Dinsdale, Lyon, Christensen, Turner, Ramirez all pitted a few laps ago before the caution came out. They already ran laps under green, so they will be at a little bit of a disadvantage fuel-wise, as Klessens wins the race off pit road, Gabriel second out of the box, And we've got Urman, Alexander, Esteban, Naslund, Heredia, Flaker is still in the pits with damage to repair, and Moyle and Levine and Garcia all out of the race. So 60 laps to go at the moment. That is with one more stop, 30 laps for each stint, which is what you roughly run under green anyway. So it's a very good strategy call in my opinion. I like it from all of these drivers.
Yeah, and it's and that's the case as well. If you're a little bit further back, it's easier to make the call to pit to if you see who's pitting and who isn't. But it's interesting the SMS cars didn't, because they were some of the first of the front runners in. Unless they think they can pull a bigger fuel number than was possible in the first stint, we'll see.
Yeah, I got the graphic up right here for my personal viewing here. So the two SMS cars in the lead, Dinsdale and Lyon, they both pitted on lap 34, which was at the moment 7 laps ago. Christensen pitted on lap 36. Turner on lap 35 and lap 36 as well for Mauro Ramirez. So, like I said, they already have a few laps of fuel burn in the car, as Dinsdale might be pitting, or is it a fake? He is pitting. So will Lyon gonna take over the race lead? As Dinsdale backed out of that strategy, he knew that that was not the way to go. So he will go all the way to the tail end of the field, to the back of the field. But at Pocono, if you can get the clean air on the wings, shouldn't be too difficult to pass around this place, especially if you have been running at the front all day long. When you know that you've got the pace to do it.
I'm struggling to understand why it's only Dinsdale pitting then. Because, I mean, if he couldn't make it on fuel without pitting to get the strategy right, well, how can Lyon? And now Lyon's left completely alone at the front as well, so not really sure what SMS's plan is here, because feels like Lyon's kind of out on his own now, and Jesper Orman's still going to be surrounded by his teammates at the front and in the middle of the field.
Very good point, but it also makes me wonder, like maybe Will's trying to split up his strategy, that he is hoping for another yellow, that he can then, if the yellow comes in around 10, 15 laps or so, everybody's going to come back into the pits anyway, you know, so it might be his way of gaining track position as well, so we'll see how that plays out. But this early in the race, we're not even halfway yet. I'm not sure how you will make a call as extreme as that this early on, but I guess we'll know.
I mean, and with the track position, I mean, he was running. I can't remember exactly where, but it was top 5 before the caution came out. So he's maybe gained a few positions at most. And you'll see the likes of Claessens and Orman come through. They'll have slightly younger tires too, so that's only going to help them at the end of the stint as well. So yeah, Will Lyon needs a caution and needs it probably fairly quickly.
Definitely. So I guess you could say 25 laps left for Will Lyon in the fuel tank, as the pace car once again gonna pull off, and we will get back to racing for the second time here. Third time, if you count the green flag.
Green.
There we go. It's back out again. It's Will Lyon, takes us up the gears. Breaks the draft already. Oh, we got a
contact in the back.
The yellow flag is out.
I was just keeping an eye on Daniel Dinsdale. There's a spin in front.
Gonna Nasser getting through that, but that was Manuel Gomez Esteban who has crashed for sure. He is facing backwards, as we will try to get a better angle of this, and there you can see him. The Massinger driver with no front end on the car, no front wing at least, as just misses the wall.
Looks provisionally, it might have been Naslund involved as well. Potentially some damage to Dinsdale, and that's the issue when you start further back than is potentially necessary.
Yep, and big suspension damage from Manuel Gomez Esteban on the left side of the car. Is it the left side? Yes, it is left. It's right on my screen, but from the car point of view, it's on the left.
It's pretty well bent. It looks like front and rear suspension are both knocked way out of link. So if he even gets it into the pits, it's impressive.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a few minutes of repair time. But Will Lyon got the caution that he needed, I guess, but I'm not sure how effective it will be as everybody behind him, they already pitted, so really doesn't make much sense to me as Mauro Ramirez, yeah, he got that yellow that he did not need, so Mauro Ramirez, like we already mentioned, big family man, has to pick up his daughter from school, doesn't have time to finish the race, unfortunately, but ran a great race into the top 5. Of course, he stayed out, but still, you have to be in it to win it. So yeah,
I know we don't give out a driver of the race award. He gets it. He gets it just for being a wholesome family man. That is what we like to see.
That's a good one, yes. So Mauro Ramirez, driver of the race. So yeah, let's see who comes into the pits then. And
Will Lyon.
Will Lyon definitely coming in. Christensen as well. Turner. Oh, they're all gonna stay out except for Will Lyon. So again, splitting strategies between Indy Alliance Racing, as they will once again stay out. So this will give us some time whilst Will is in the pits. And also Daniel Dinsdale, Naslund and Manuel. They will all take repair. So let's see what happened to Manuel Gomez Esteban as we ran down the back straight into turn 2. There it is, Connie on the inside. Manuel way up high, and Connie actually clips him in the back and sends him into the wall. And I think that's pretty clear cut right there. Connie clearly pushing up the track and causing that incident. And Connie with suspension damage on the right, it's facing outwards. So using the Mercedes DAS system.
Absolutely.
You didn't
but
hear
that's
that,
the big risk with at the restarts. Turn 2, I think, is of all 3 turns, it's the most difficult one in the restart. Because you've got cold tires, the dirty air can be a surprise. It's especially they all had a full tank of fuel as well. So, I mean, I've been clunked into I think at least 2 or 3 times on restarts at turn 2 at Pocono. That's why I know it's difficult.
It is the tunnel turn as well, so there's a bump on the inside of turn 2, which always makes it the most difficult turn around this place. Of course, which I guess if you're new to over racing time's funny, but yes, left turns can be difficult sometimes to navigate your way through. But yeah, that incident definitely taking out a few cars, including, well, Nasser and Manuel Gomez Esteban, but also Mauro Ramirez and Sam Moyle. It's running back out on track again, 4 laps down. So we got 10 cars still running on track at the moment. So
and that maybe, I think, explains Will Lyon's pit strategy. Sorry to cut in, but there's a lot less of a penalty whenever you're pitting and you're going to be 9th or 10th versus being 17th, 18th, 19th in the pack. So it makes it easier for Lyon to come in now and maybe cover off and do something different.
That's a very good point as well. I like the way you're thinking about these all the time. I like it. We need to get you in here more often.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I was absolutely mid-driver, but strategy, I got it all day.
I think you need to call Mattia Binotto.
Yeah, Mattia, call me. You don't know my number, but I'm going to pretend like you do.
What's the phone code for Ireland?
353, and you can just figure it out. I'm sure someone's doxed me at some point for one of my opinions. I mean, well, I'm sure my phone number's out there somewhere.
I know the phone code for the US is 1, so you could just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Like, I'm sure if you call, you'll get through to somebody. Might not be me, but give it a go.
If you did that in terms of telling your number, you'd be as big of a clown as Ferrari is themselves. So
I don't think so. It's pretty difficult to be that big of a clown.
That is very true.
But luckily, they don't run in the PMRL, so we don't have to deal with any of their strategy calls.
I think Manuel Gomez could drive for Ferrari. He's got 3 wheels on the car. You want 3 or 4 tires?
Oh, goodness.
So, we are going back to green flag racing at the end of this lap, going through turn 3, I believe we are now. Yes, it is. So, running through the field here very quickly as we go back to green. Thomas Christensen out in the lead from Matthew Turner, Thomas Klessens, Jesper Urman, Cesar Gabriel, Seb Alexander, Will Lyon, Daniel Dinsdale, and Xavier Heredia in 9th position. Then we got Connie Nassel in 10th, but he is in the pit for damage. So here we go, back to green at Pocono.
Green flag, green flag.
And Orman making it an IAR 1-2-3 up the inside of Claessens and Turner.
Making moves early on this restart. We are approaching halfway, just a few laps shy of that, but look at this pack of cars. 6 cars running within a second of each other. This is amazing on this restart. We got through turn 2 at least. Let's see how turn 3 goes on the cold tires, and we get through it cleanly for now as we have a car very close to the wall.
Just about got through there. Cabral, he might watch up for a second. Got it.
Almost commentators cursed everybody there in the field. So yes, but Earl back to the lead.
I was just going to say, we don't have room to commentators curse too many cars here.
Yeah, we only got 9 left. Turner getting by. Claessens on the inside as well. Turn 2. Tires getting up to pressures and temperatures as well, so turn 2 will be a little bit easier to navigate for the drivers right now. Also less cars running in the race, less dirty air to manage. I gotta stop making these terrible jokes.
I mean, it's an actual observation, it's not even a joke. It's true.
I guess take it with a grain of salt. It's the proper way to say it. So Will Lyon racing Seb Alexander. Teammate of Jesper, of course, so he will not make it any easier for Will Lyon than the rest of the field. And he's got 2 SMS cars right behind. Of course, those 2 teams also battling for the Teams Championship at the end of the season. So, expect Seb to put up a good fight. As Will looks up the inside here. Seb with a good run out of turn 3 with the momentum. Also picks up the draft. Holds the position for now as Dinsdale now going to look up the inside of Will.
Yeah, both SMS cars kind of stalled here behind Alexander. There's a bit of a gap to the front 5.
Will almost got a little loose there, but Seb pushed up the track in dirty air of Cesar Gabriel ahead, so that allows the SMS boys to go through. And Alexander losing 2 positions in less than, 200 meters around this place.
Next target for the SMS cars will be Cesar Cabral in 5th, who's just dropped a little bit off the back of Claessens. A little bit in IndyCar being less than a second, but that's how fine the margins are.
You can definitely see Will looking for that clean air at the inside. The car picks up the understeer right there, the aero push. Has to get out of the throttle to not hit the outside wall. Very easy to hit, by the way. Done it plenty of times myself as well. Will with a great run out of turn 3 again. Cesar with a terrible one out of turn 3. As Will pulls it to the inside. Not really a contest, is it? At least at the moment. Cesar going to come back on the outside though, so I'll take that back right away. As there we go, Will clears him. Into the top 5 again.
Now Cabral up the inside is going to turn, and they'll just about keep it clean. Yep, all good. Lyon takes that place. You're always scared on the outside of the tunnel turn in turn 2 that the driver on the inside, it's so easy just to wash up. So, Will Lyon getting away with it, and now he'll be chasing after Claessens. Here comes Dinsdale as well, looking to the inside of Cabral. Should be a fairly easy move. Looks like SMS have got their cars hooked up.
This is just
and there we go, well clear
at the moment though, so who knows if they got the tools right for the full fuel stint, but at least at the moment, like you said, yes, they got the cars hooked up, but it's all about getting it right for the entire stint. It's about 30 laps long, so it takes quite a while. Tires do fall off quite a bit here as well. Of course, not as much banking as other tracks around on the schedule, so definitely something to keep an eye on.
But what helps them now is they'll have a few laps fresher tires than the cars up front by doing this strategy, so we'll see how they keep it on the long run, but I think it's looking pretty good for them so far, as they've already caught up to the back of the lead pack.
It's looking pretty good indeed. The fastest lap of the race last time by for Will Lyon, 40.96. That is, oh my, that is half a second quicker than anybody else the last time by, so...
And 0.2 of a second faster than his fastest qualifying lap as well.
Of course, that is draft aided, but still just goes to show how fast the SMS cars are at the moment. Dinsdale not too far off either, just less than 1/10 of a second. It's 900 slower last time by. Let's see how quick it is this time. Less than half 1/10 of a second, so... Will to the outside of Thomas here. Looking for that clean air between Thomas and Matthew just up ahead as well, giving the dirty air.
Up front, it's been Orman and Christensen swapping the lead, unsurprisingly, trying to get that fuel number where they want it. But what's interesting is, even though they've been on a charge kind of coming through from the back of the pack for SMS, they've probably actually made better fuel mileage while doing it. They've had a lot less clean air doing so. So even though they've been making all this progress and being rapid, I would presume that they've also made a better fuel number as well than the two cars up front.
It's a very good point too, yes. So because you're running in a dirty air, you have to lift off more naturally anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you're running map 1 or map 5. As long as you're lifting off, you're going to save fuel. So that's a very valid point that you make right there, and that will probably make the difference between the SMS cars and Indy Alliance racing cars of about a lap or two maybe under green. And of course that could all be very crucial when the yellows fall at the right or wrong time for that matter, like we saw in the first half of this race.
And with the amount of cars left, it could be one of these that causes the yellow too, so...
We almost got one right there between Kletzes and Dinsdale. But Dinsdale getting by, slots back in line behind his teammate, Will. Still side by side there between the 4 and the 7 into turn 2. Oh, Dinsdale really had to get out of it right there to not hit the wall.
Yeah, they did a good job catching it. Looks like you got a little bit loose on the high side. As well, Lyon making a move now on Matthew Turner for P3. On the inside lane, we'll see if he can hold it or not. They're still side by side on the exit of 1. Looks like, yeah, Turner's got a bit more momentum on the high side. We'll see if Lyon dives again on the inside of 2, or maybe up the inside into turn 3.
Track temperature has gone up 1 degree from the start of this race, so very insignificant. But
and up the inside now, Will Lyon diving for 3rd. It's difficult on the inside of turn 3 to keep the momentum though. Oh, close to the wall for Turner, but he keeps it.
Yeah, the outside line seems to really have a lot of momentum off the corners all the way around this place. Every turn, every lap is the same thing happening, so it's going to be difficult for Will to get by. But of course, we know Will, he doesn't give up that easily. Of course, he is still right in the championship hunt. And he does have a 5-point lead, so I guess you could say he can go 0.1% easier than Jesper Ullman. Of course, they both have to go for it. But coming up to 40 laps to go, about 10 laps away from the final round of pit stops under green, unless we get a yellow.
And now we're seeing the gap. Matt Turner in his job holding off Will Lyon. That gap to Orman and Christensen at the front's growing. So it might become imperative for Lyon to get past and maybe use a bit of his better pace. But again, Turner's holding that outside line.
So
but Will has a good run here. He's slid up in front of him. He's got him.
Well, he's coming back though. So if you were wondering if the teammates were going to play any role in this championship fight, you are literally seeing it right now. Matthew Turner trying to make his car as wide as possible to hold up both of the SMS cars as much as physically possible within the rules. And, well, it's clearly costing Will time. As Danny said, the gap is steadily growing now. 1.5 seconds between Christensen and Lyon as he goes up the inside. But Turner on the outside here, gonna get a good run again.
I'll tell you what, it could be enough even for Lyon potentially to lose the draft to Orman and Christensen. And if this race stays green, that is golden for those two. That's massive for Orman's championship.
Look at the gap on the timing tower. It is going down again, so I think Will does have the draft still. It's just about though, but it does help a little bit. As he is pulling away from Turner now, so Turner gonna look back in the mirrors again to try and hold up Dinsdale now, to at least keep the SMS cars behind for the team's championship as best as he can.
Yeah, good job from Turner to hold off Lyon for that many laps, though it's difficult to continuously hold it around the outside. You're probably using a bit more of your tyres doing that as well, so well done to Matthew Turner, and he's holding place at the minute in 4th, so if he can keep the pressure up on Will Lyon, that's going to halt his progress even more. As the gap stays at around 1.5 seconds between Lyon and Christensen and Norman.
Yep, as the two leaders still swapping the lead, trying to make the most of the swap drafting. And
not only does it help their fuel number, it helps their pace too against Will Lyon.
Yeah, Will Lyon running on his own. Slowly but surely catching though. The gap is now down to 1.2 seconds to the next car, which is Christensen in 2nd.
Yeah, his car is hooked up 100%. This maybe as well where you're seeing the tyres come in too. Even without the draft he's pulling in, looks like that SMS car's on rails no matter where he puts it.
It's really the first time that I've personally really seen Will on the charge as big as he is right now. Definitely feeling one with the car at the moment. So, yep, the gap is now down to a second. So the closer the gap gets, the bigger the effect of the draft of the cars ahead will be. So it will not be that long until Will has caught back up to the leaders. And he will be right back in the mix for this race win. As we have 35 laps to go now. So pit window opens in about 5 laps to make it to the end.
We could see stops as early as 3 laps from now, though, depending if people can get the fuel mileage we saw in the first stint. So we'll see. It'll be Orman and Christensen of the leaders will be the first ones in. We'll see just how far they get, and that'll indicate just what the numbers will be like for the SMS cars as well.
We had plenty of crashes in this race. Abweslacht, trying to pronounce that. I'm not German. I'm the neighboring country though, but hope I got it somewhat right. But yeah, a few incidents in the race today, so a few retirements. When we get some pit stops, we'll try to go back through the replays to go back through every incident. We got 2 or 3 cautions, I believe, in this race. I
believe 3.
Okay.
2, maybe 3. I don't know.
I lost count.
Numbers are not our forte. That much is clear.
For sure. Yeah, so the gap is now less than a second between Christensen and Lyon. And of course, key thing to mention as well, Christensen pitted 4 laps earlier than Jesper Urman. He is the first car out of the top 3 that will have to pit. Just 9 cars running on the lead lap, by the way. Xavier Heredia doing a good job though to be that last car. Haven't really mentioned him at all, I think, this season, apart from an incident or 2 which he was involved in. But very quiet day for him, running inside the top 10 with only 9 cars running, as I mentioned. So on course for a very good finish in the Pocono 250 today.
Yeah, decent job, and sometimes at these ovals it's a good job just to keep it out of the wall. You know, it's difficult. Even can be sometimes in clean air if you haven't got the best tires and stuff. So yeah, Heredia gaining a bit more experience, running well, running cleanly, most importantly. So good job from him.
I don't know if Gary Gotzo is watching, but I think he knows exactly what I'm going to say right now. It's the Gary Gotz strat, which he is doing right now. Just keeping the car out of the wall. Look how far away from that wall he is. Just trying to keep the car under his own control and getting it to the end of the race, which is all that he cares about. Which is good on him, because he is, as I said, in 9th in the top 10, well inside of it. As Gabriel now racing with Seb Alexander again for P7. This is.
So I would say we're officially inside the pit window for the final stops, so we'll see when Christensen has to pit. Not at the minute, though. So it looks like everyone's running a surplus as to the max amount of laps you can run on a tank. And even though SMS probably have a few laps extra in the bank, I think if you see Orman and Christensen pitting from now, you'll see SMS jump in a lap later. Because even if they haven't used all the fuel they have, it'll give them a shorter pit stop, having to refuel less.
Well, that's something I didn't think about yet. So when you take less fuel, of course, when your Will has been in the back of the pack for pretty much the entire stint, so he will have to take less fuel, like you said. And that difference under the pit cycles in that pit box can actually make the difference between being in third right now and actually when the pit cycles happen. That Will Lyon and Dinsdale can rejoin in first and second. So it's another good point that you make today, as we continue to watch Cabro and Alexander go at it, by the way, for P7. We've been watching this battle for the last few laps, but pit stops are about to happen in the next couple of laps. And that will be the final round as well until the finish.
Unless, of course, we have more cautions. Because at this point as well, with so few cars in the lead lap, if there's caution with 15 to go, you're like 4th or 5th, you might as well take tires.
I think you definitely do have to take tires, because it's Pocono. Going out on track on all tires is usually not a very good idea. Not in the traffic, at least.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's for if we have a late restart, I can see any drivers from me 4th on back pitting. Of course, at the hopefully final green flag stop here, everyone's taking tires. Not much is obvious. As Will Lyon now is really pulled up to the back of Christensen and Orman, that gap has pretty much disappeared. So a fantastic stint of driving from Lyon.
3-time league champion, trying to make it 4 in a row.
And these are the types of stints you need to be able to win these championships. You need to be able to come from the back of the pack or in the middle of the pack, be able to use the car that you have under you, be able to keep it all under control, keep your nose clean when making all those moves. And now, with the bigger fuel number, the bigger amount of fuel in the car, better tyres at the minute come towards the end of the stint, Will Lyon really has managed this quite well.
Late call in the pit. Oh, yes, but did he get hit by his teammate? Or did he just lock the race? I don't know. Difficult to tell.
Oh, he locked the rears. He got on the grass and locked the rears. I'm not sure if he made pit speed.
I'm not sure either, but Christensen for sure around. He's got damage on the front wing, so that will for sure give one spot to Will Lyon. Oh yeah, damage to Christensen. Oh, that is so unfortunate. You can see the front tires pointing to the right.
That looked like a last-minute call for Orman and for Christensen. Christensen locked the rears going in. Orman, I don't know how he kept it off the wall, but you have to ask, what are they doing?
It might have been a very late call indeed, but it might have just been a box opposite of what Will was doing. So let's see if I can grab a replay from this, because I really want to see this.
Yeah, it looks like Orman completely misjudged, first of all, so he got on the grass. And then Christensen did get it slowed down, but in the process of getting to pit speed, locked the rear tyres and then the wall. That's massive for the championship.
Yes, it is. As we look at it from the chopper right now, I believe this is the correct lap which we're looking from right now. So let's slow it down here. So Christensen Gonna stay out. This was a lap before. Okay, perfect. We'll scroll through this very quickly because we don't want to miss the rest of the action, of course.
As Jesper Orman has served a stop-and-go penalty for speeding in pit lane. So Orman now a lap behind the leaders.
That is really gonna break his race, but we got the incident right here. On the replay, Will right behind, so Jesper on the inside here at the moment. Well, he got a penalty, but at this point, which we're looking at right now, he is leading the race. Goes into the pits, he already commits. Thomas, like you said, I don't think he scheduled to make a pit stop, so he comes back in as well. Now, Will almost hits him in the rear as well, by the way. But Jesper gets in that grass, like you pointed out, so very, very good spot there. As he locks the rears into the pits, speeds into the pits as well, which you've got the penalty for. And Christensen, I was actually looking at Jesper right there, so I couldn't see it, but... No, I thought Christensen might have hit those little barrels there on the pit wall, but he didn't. Just locked the race as well and spun to the inside, so... Huge loss for Jesper Urman and Thomas Christensen from running 1st and 2nd to running 8th and 10th right now. Just a disaster for the IAR boys in the team's championship as well, as it is SMS Racing in 1st and 2nd right now, as Dinsdale comes in as well. So Will exits the box in the race lead. He's got Matthew Turner right behind in 2nd.
And he exits just behind Jesper Orman, almost a lap down.
Just rubbing salt into the wound, I guess.
But I mean, that's important for Orman if he can stay on the lead lap if we get a caution, but...
He's already a lap down, I believe, from Will as well. Right?
But we will see, though, whenever Dinsdale makes the pit stop, I think he might gain the lap back.
We'll find out. I think you are correct, actually. Where is it? Hello, update? There we go. So Jesper back on the lead lap. If he stays here, if a caution comes out, he will be able to rejoin at the tail end of the lead lap. So not entirely out of it yet, but at the moment it's an SMS Racing 1-2 and they are 3.2 seconds clear of Thomas Glasses and Matthew Turner, who are both going at it for the final spot on the podium with 23 laps to go.
I'm still trying to diagnose what possibly could have caused that for IAR, because it looks like the call was made very late indeed. Didn't look like Christensen really had any idea until the pit lane was right there. And then that's a really rare mistake for Orman to make. He just completely misjudged the line into the pit box and got on the grass. It was an amazing save to keep it in the race. And look, if we get a caution, he could still end up on the podium. I would guarantee you that. But that's the pressure of the championship. Orman knows if he has to have a chance at winning this title, he had to win this race, put himself in the best position possible for the final race, a road course at Road America. And look, SMS have kept their cool. Looks like IAR at the minute might have just lost theirs.
Yeah, we saw Jesper make a mistake earlier on in the season as well at Mid-Ohio, where he, I believe, went straight on in turn 2 after coming out of the pits on cold tires. So it's not the first time that he's made a mistake this season, and it's really going to cost him this time around. As the gap in the championship going into Road America, like you said, will definitely be a little bit too big for Jesper to overcome, as it's highly unlikely that Will lose that race, or at least finish off the podium. I think he will almost be guaranteed a podium finish, will Lion, the way he's been driving on those road and street courses. But yeah, Jesper not entirely out of it, but it's looking very unlikely at this point that he will win the championship.
Yeah, I think what Jesper needs now is a bit of... dare I say Abu Dhabi 2021? If anybody ends up in the wall, if we have a caution, that is what saves Jesper Orman. He goes from being 40 seconds behind to being P8 and having a car that can run himself into the podium. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but you know.
Well, sadly we do not have a Canadian in the field. We don't have one.
Unfortunately, that's true. No Australian on the race control either.
Unless Jessica spontaneously changes her nationality.
Gary.
Or Gary, yes. We do know that Jessica, by the way, I think it was last season, changed the iRacing nickname for her side of iRacing to Michael Massey, just for jokes.
I would say, and we'll see if that comes into play, but no.
I hope not.
I highly
hope
doubt it.
not. So we've got 19 laps to go. The gap between the top 2 and the rest of the field is growing. We only got a battle going on for the 3rd position at the moment between Matthew Turner and Thomas Klessens. So we promised you a little run through all the incidents. I'm going to try my best to do this as quickly as possible, to miss as little of the race as possible. But for those tuning in late, we've had a few cautions today. We'll go back to the opening lap first. Here we go, following Manuel Gomez Esteban here, out of turn 1. There you can see the incident. So that is Taylor Mills clipping the back of Matthew Levine, and that all sets off the chaos behind. And that brought out the first caution of the day. And we have to look all the way down the session events for the next one. There you can see Flaker getting hit from the back by, who was that again? Is that Seb Alexander? Yes, it was. A little bit of contact there, perhaps some netcode involved as well, but either way, another casualty of the race. And then later on in the race, Manuel Gomez Esteban also crashed. Got clipped by Conny Naslund, which retired both of those cars with heavy suspension damage on both of those machines. Since then, we've been running green. So those are all the incidents that brought out a yellow. Of course, we had a few other ones, including the IAR. Dare I say it in Toto Wolff language? If you are under the age of, well, whatever you consider legal for swearing, just cover your ears for a quick second. A colossal fuck up.
I mean, it just looked to me like, I don't know if Jesper was the one who made the call, but he made it incredibly late even for himself. As now we're seeing the leaders lapping Jesper Orman. So Orman's going to fight this. There's no blue flag rule, but you want to see this stay clean. And just in the interest of fairness, in the fairness of the championship, Orman does have a right to race hard, but you would hope that it doesn't come to tears here.
Well, if it does, I'm sure there will be some words after that on the Discord, but at the moment it's all clean. As Will goes to the inside, it's 2 against 1 still though. As Dinsdale can do something here as well. Oh yes, for almost clipping the apron. Apron very bad. Jesper back to the inside here. Desperately trying to hold on to the lead lap in case a caution does come out.
I mean, the drama doesn't stop here, does it? Not only do we have the incident, now we have Jesper battling to keep on the lead lap with his main championship rival.
You gotta do what you gotta do to win that championship. It's really Jesper's last resort, is it?
Oh yeah, he has to do this, and hey, there's nothing in the rules to say he can't. And I think Will also knows that him and Dinsdale have a massive gap back to Klaassen. They can really afford to not take too many risks, just take it easy, drive their own race at this point. And of course Will knows that. He's a cerebral driver. He'll know to keep his nose clean.
So Gabriel and Alexander still going at it. I believe the leaders can keep it clean, no problem. So we'll cover this battle. 13 laps to go at the moment. Across the line.
This is for a top 5 finish too. This would be a big result for both drivers. Getting a top 5 is no mean feat around here.
Yes, and of course, if you remember from the point standings going into this race, it's all very close from 3rd until 11th. I'm not sure about the live points. I do not have that data available to me, but from my memory, which in all fairness isn't always that great, but I do believe that those two are in that championship fight for the 3rd position in the points. So
we've just had a spin off of turn 3. Sorry to interrupt. No Looks like worries. Sam Moyles looped it. It's staying green for the minute, and he is pulled into pit lane.
We almost got to Abu Dhabi 2021 like you were hoping for. Well, hoping is a big word, but predicting, I guess, is a better one. So Gabriel now clear of Alexander into the top 5, pulling away from the 49 as well. So we'll go back to the leaders as we got 11 laps to go.
And by the way, not sure, I'm just looking at Moyle having that spin. Just looks like maybe something's wrong with the car. Not too sure if everything was all right there, but he spun all on his own. Kept it out of the wall, though, and that's probably what prevented the caution.
So, of course, Indy Alliance Racing messing up their final green flag pit stops, put them at the back of the top 10, and also really made Jesper Uhrmann's life difficult in the championship standings. After this race, we have one more race to go, which will decide the championship at Road America. It's not going to be as close as we all had hoped for with that mistake from IAR, but Will stringing this race together very nicely indeed at the moment. Drove a perfect stint after the last restart to drive all the way from the back of the field, from the 13 cars at the time, which were still running, all the way up to the front. And he hasn't really left that position since the IR boys made their error. So SMS 1-2 at the moment, looking to extend their championship lead in the team's points as well. So all in all, a great day at the moment for SMS.
Just looking at the point system, at the minute, Will Lyon would get 50 points for winning the race. For Uhrmann in P8, that would be 24. So a gain of 26, 31 point lead it would be for Will Lyon going into the final round if things stay as they are.
$31 points is quite difficult to overcome with one race to go.
I believe it would require Uhrmann to win and Lyon to finish 12th or lower in the final race if things stay as they are for Uhrmann to get back in the championship and win it. Of course, that doesn't include bonus points, but I'm not sure how we distribute them, so I'm just gonna go off the base championship points for position.
Isn't it the same as IndyCar, or is Jessica just different with those points?
It is the IndyCar scoring system, but I am not sure if we have put like the bonus points for like leading a lap or getting pole.
I don't know.
I can look that up. I can try.
If you could, that would be great. Yes, because I'm a little confused as well now myself. I always thought we used the IndyCar point system.
It is the IndyCar point system. But
yeah,
I
meant with bonus points as well. The entire point system I thought we used, but might be wrong with that.
I think that's still outside. Alright, I know if I think Uhrmann would get a point for leading a lap, so would Lyon. Uhrmann would get a point for pole, so that gains 1, but I'm not sure if Lyon's led the most laps or not. Which would be worth 2 championship points. If it's the IndyCar scoring system.
Trying to think here, it might have been Jesper that led the most laps. It's either Jesper or a teammate. Who was he racing against in the beginning again? Was it Christensen or
Christensen?
Yes, so it's either Jesper or Christensen. One of those two I know for 100% certainty, but yeah, just got to figure out between those two who it is. But Jesper's still trying to do the best that he can, trying to hold on to the lead lap, but I think it will be a little bit too optimistic. We got 5 laps to go at the line, and that will be it, unfortunately.
Okay, I can confirm bonus points for fastest lap, leading a lap, pole position, and leading the most laps. So 1 for fastest lap, 1 for leading a lap, 1 for pole, 2 for leading most laps. So those play a factor as well. And I'll actually recalculate here as terms of Uhrmann's points. Uhrmann actually would only lose 21 points. So it'd be a 26-point gap. That's just based off the base points. Numbers, I believe it still works out as 26. We'll just need to see if it goes to Christensen or to Orman for most laps led, because that would bring it down to 24.
Of course, after the race, we got the points being updated by the league, so we can only just really speculate. There's nothing official. All that we can do is trying to work it out, but we will have the points pre-race next week as we go into the final round. And we'll know exactly where Will needs to finish to clinch the championship, or the other way around, where Jesper needs to finish and Will needs to finish for Jesper to win the championship. We'll work it all out, but at the moment, not 100% certain yet. So take everything again with a little grain of salt, I guess. As Sam Moyle and Christensen still in the pits with damage. And we still got 9 cars running, 8 of which are on the lead lap, with Jesper Urman still doing his best, but I think right now it's a little pointless trying to keep defending it, because if a caution were to come out, Jesper will not have any benefit from it anyway, as Jesper throws a nice little block on Will there. Well, I say nice, it's not really legal, but we'll let it slide for just this once.
Coming to 2 to go, it's getting a bit spicy.
Gotta be
we'll see just how close the gap is.
Yep, if you're careful.
If you're Will Lyon, you know just to keep that gap, just to lift off if you need to. At least hopefully, you know. As Orman going to the inside, oh my goodness.
I do not like the way this is going right now. As we go through turn 3, Will on the inside, Jesper on the outside, but Jesper is a lap down. So final lap at Pocono, the final Triple Crown race, the final oval race. It's looking set to be won by Will Lyon from SMS Racing. If he doesn't get taken out by Jesper Urman trying to hold on to the lead lap.
If I'm Will Lyon now, I am backing off, I am lifting off the throttle, I am letting Jesper do whatever he wants. Never mind that, Will's going side by side. Into the tunnel turn, we'll see how tight they get at the moment. Still a decent bit of gap between the cars. Looks like Will Lyon's going to get through, say, a final turn of the race.
Yep, they're going to be okay. Jesper will not do anything crazy here. I know him well enough for that. So out of turn 3, Will Lyon wins at Pocono. He extends his championship lead to what we believe is 31 points with 1 race to go. And this is a real big punch in the face to Jesper Urman right there. On the ovals, Will Lyon beats Jesper in his own backyard as Dinsdale finishes 2nd for SMS Racing. Matthew Turner runs off the podium in 3rd. And he only just finished ahead of Thomas Klessens as well, by the way. That was on the timing screens at least. It looks like 1/100th of a second between those two. So we'll try to find a finish between those two if we can. But Cesar Gabriel finishes in the top 5. Started 3rd, but still a very excellent result for him in that very colourful paint scheme. So here's the move for the podium positions, going through turn 2 here. Turner lining up. Thomas Klessens down the back straight into turn 3. Oh, so there's almost contact between the two. Klessens washes up the track there. Might have been a little bit of contact, but either way. Turner out of turn 3 gets a great run, goes all the way to the inside, and boom. That's 1/100th of a second between those two drivers across the line. For Matthew Turner, for Indy Alliance Racing, it's a podium still, but I guess for the team itself, it's not the driver that they had hoped for to finish up there. But still, nonetheless, congratulations to the podium finishers. As Will Lyon celebrates his win at Pocono here.
What a drive from Will Lyon. Looks like he definitely had one of the best handling cars on track all day. Kept his head, kept his cool, and we saw that's why Will Lyon's won 3 championships in a row. We saw, even though just how strong Jesper Orman was all day, how strong he's been all season, making minimal mistakes, he made the mistake when it most counted on this final pit stop. Will Lyon kept his head, 1-2 for SMS, brilliantly executed racing strategy, and now he just has to finish the job at Road America.
Was it 12th that he needed to finish next week?
I will just confirm that. I believe the gap without knowing the bonus point for leading most laps is actually 26 points. So it will be a case where if Jesper Orman wins, Will Lyon needs to finish in the top 10 to secure the championship.
All right, well, we got a week until we arrive at Road America in Wisconsin to find out who will be the champion. But looking at the race results, it's a 1-2 for SMS Racing Will Lyon in front of Daniel Dinsdale. Gotta say, quite an unexpected podium with Matthew Turner in third position. Great job to him. Just a hundredth of a second clear of Thomas Klessens. Then we got Cabro running off the top 5. Then the rest of the finishing cars, Seb Alexander, Xavier Heredia and Jesper Ehrman on the lead lap. Then we got Conny Nasrid in 9th. Then the cars who did not finish, Sam Moe, who runs off the top 10, Thomas Christensen, Mauro Ramirez, Manuel Gomez, Esteban, Christian Flaker, Matthew Levine, Carlos Espada, Jalberto Garcia, Taylor Mills, and we scroll down, and Tobias Nara, who did not take the green flag, will be classified as 19th officially. So those are the race results. And, we'll do some quick post-race interviews before we head off. There we go. All right, let's jump into the broadcast room, Danny. I'll
all good.
Take it off. Hey guys, can you guys hear me all right?
Hello.
Hello. So we got everybody in the waiting room right now. I guess we'll start with the winner first for a change. Will, congratulations on a well-deserved win. You drove a great stint after the yellow came out. Just talk us through the race with your teammates and the way you charged through the field with Daniel, I believe it was.
Yeah, wow. I don't know if that's our first win on an oval. I don't know, but it feels kind of special. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have like a massive pack to come up through. There was only about 10 cars remaining or something, but you know, the quality of people we had to overtake there to get to the front was pretty tough. And you know, we don't have a lot of experience together coordinating on the ovals, but I think we did a really impressive job to do what we did, and then to get up onto the back of Jesper and Thomas, and you know, perhaps our presence there just forced them into a small error, and that's got us the 1-2. So yeah, I can't believe we've won at an oval. It's amazing.
Well, you extend your championship lead to, I believe, if our calculations are correct, to 31 points. So going into the final race, 26 points.
I was wrong the first time. I think it's 26.
Okay, perfect. So 26 points. So you got it a little bit easier going into the final race than you might have expected going into this one. But just talk us through what your expectations for next week are. Like, are you expecting Jesper to be anywhere near you guys, or you think you have a good pace at Road America?
I think our pace is good at Road America, but it's got a really strong amount of draft at that track because there's so many straights. So you know, I don't think people give Jesper enough credit for his road course pace. So I don't think he'll be a million miles away. And you know, we got to keep it clean next week and just get the job done. And we'll have to check the team standings as well. And I mean, getting a 1-2 at an ovals put us in a great position. So yeah, fingers crossed. We just need to bring a decent result at Road America, and hopefully that will be enough.
Perfect. Danny, you have anything for Will?
Yeah, it looked like out there on track you were pretty much in control. As I was saying to Julian, even though maybe ovals might not be seen as your forte, you're a pretty cerebral driver. You keep things in control. How difficult was it to be able to kind of come from, even though the field was reduced, you're still back 7th, 8th on those restarts on the different strategy. How difficult was it then to close up that gap we saw as well? There was a point where it looked like maybe Jesper and Christiansen had broken the draft as well to you in third after you passed Matt Turner. How difficult was it just to get that car in the right place, just to be able to hold such a pretty astonishing pace at times?
Yeah, no, it was quite difficult because we had people like Matt Turner and Thomas Claessens who were very quick, and they were trying to come back at us as we were coming through. And there was a few times where I did fear we'd lost the draft with with Thomas and Jesper, but fortunately it was quite cool track temperatures, so there wasn't as much aero wash and push through the corners in dirty air as what you might expect around here. So I think we got a little bit lucky with the conditions, but yeah, I mean it was just a case of just trying to work out where the grip was. If someone was going low, I would go middle lane, Dan would go high lane. If I went low, Dan went high. It was just sort of trying to just back up the corners, work out where people ahead of you were placing their car, and then you just go in the opposite place, really. So yeah, it was it was a really good race for me and Dan. I think it's unfortunate we couldn't get Matt up there with us. Unfortunately, got caught up in something, but yeah, it's just can't believe it.
Yeah, again, congrats on the win, Will. A pretty commanding performance in the end. Going now to second place, Dan Dinsdale, your teammate. You're kind of playing a supporting role to Will in the race, if you're there, of course. How was it for you, kind of playing that supporting role, keeping your team as well in this team's championship battle? Give us your view in the race.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't care about it was all about the team points for us, because I think me and Will and Matt were aware that this is where everything could go a bit wrong, and we should be hopefully stronger next week. But you can never tell. So yeah, I was just trying to stay with Will for most of the race, and I think most of the time we were pretty much next to each other. And yeah, it was just really nice having someone to work with, because we knew we were up against it. There was a lot of team. There was only a couple of teams up at the front for a while, and we knew that everyone would be working together against us. So we had to work together and learn how to do that, because Will doesn't like talking in the corners. So it took a bit of getting used to for us to get our highs and lows sorted. I think I was calling low when I wanted high, and it was all over the place for a while, but we got it. And yeah, I was really happy that we managed to do a good pit stop and get out ahead of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, and teamwork on the ovals is a massive factor, especially when you have some big teams in the field. So one of the big parts of the race as well that did play into it was strategy. You and Will seemed to be on a slightly different strategy to the AAR cars of Orman and Christensen. I can speak, I swear. So what was the strategy calls like? Was it a case of you and Lang keeping it fairly consistent, making sure you two could stick together and ride it out?
I would love to tell you that was the plan, but what happened is we didn't think about pitting, and everyone else pitted, and we panicked, and we had a chat, and I was like, I think we've made a mistake. And then I pitted, and then Will was like, oh, I've made a mistake not pitting, and then thankfully there was another yellow, and he pitted. So it was purely, we had no grand plan. It was purely, I think, us just panicking and not understanding the tactics of everyone else. And I pitted a few times because I thought I was caught up in a crash with Connie. For, I think, the last caution, I got a 2x, and I thought my front wing was damaged, but it wasn't. So I came in again at the end. But I think it worked a little bit in our favour, because it meant that we had a little bit more fuel than everyone, and we didn't have to do any more fuel saving after that. So it was pretty much just be as aggressive as we could be for the end of the race. So inadvertently, it was good, but I think it wasn't planned.
Yeah, and we did see the close call. You just reminded me of that. That's always a pretty hairy moment, and I'm actually surprised here you didn't get any damage whatsoever. So sometimes the luck just has to go your way on these ovals. But again, congrats on the P2. A very well-driven race from SMS, and well done indeed.
Thank you.
All right.
And now we'll go, if you want to go, Julian, you can ask the questions to Jesper Orman.
Yes, so we don't have Matthew Turner, but we do have his teammate Jesper Urman right here. Not the race that you had hoped for. You were running at the front for quite a big portion of the race, working with your teammate Thomas Christensen. But I got to ask you, what went wrong in the pits there?
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well. First of all, I got to congratulate Will, of course, and Daniel going through the pack like that when I knew that we were on the correct strategy and they were on the wrong strategy. That's pretty impressive. I thought that they would get stuck, basically, and all of a sudden, Will, that has gotten really good at ovals lately. He was back there in P3, so at that moment I knew that, okay, it's going to take something really special here to win this season. And I think that rightly so, Will said that the fact that they were there, I think, caught us off a little bit there. I mean, it's not often you go side by side with a teammate on a green pit stop like that. Like, I ran around Pocono 1,000 laps or whatever. Never done that here, and basically I had no idea there was grass on the inside. So I'm in VR, so I kind of like we decided to go in the same lap. So I saw Thomas, like, okay, he's coming in hot here on the outside. So I decided to go like further bit to the left, and I'm like looking to the right a little bit, looking in the mirrors, like, and then I'm looking straight ahead, like I'm on a patch of grass. So, and I was like, no, this is not happening. So I was trying to brake, and of course you can't brake on grass. So I sped in the pits by like 10 miles per hour, I think. And I think something happened to Thomas as well there. I saw he lost control because he's kind of coming in a strange angle that you normally don't have. So that was the race, and that was basically, I think, the championship. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
There
be
it is.
Oh, sorry to cut
I
you.
think as well, I'll just point out as well, your save on the grass was I think it's enough just to keep you in the championship. I mean, the fact that I know you got the pit speeding penalty, but it was still an impressive save. Just the question I would have is, was it a late call to the box, or was it just simply a case of not getting the coordination right? Because it seemed, at least from an outside perspective, that especially Thomas looked to be diving to the box very late indeed. He had to slow a lot on track, and then he locked it up. You, of course, got on the grass. Was it a case of a late call, or just not quite getting the entry right?
We didn't get the entry right. We were in the last lap. We knew we were pitting. We knew that we had to had good entries and to save time on our in laps and out laps, because the ultimate goal was to break away. Obviously, I think the undercut here could work, although very difficult. But you never know how well they are coordinated when they have to pit. So it was absolutely just a bad pit stop. But I'm still, like, it's been a good season. Happy for Matt Turner. He got a P3 here. He definitely deserved that after a couple of good displays here in the last seasons. And there's also one more thing I want to discuss. So, like, I'm not trying to be I'm totally fine, it's iRacing. But maybe we should have thrown a yellow there when Sam spun. I'm not saying it was a wrong decision by the stewards not to throw the yellow. Okay, let's put it like this. Will is definitely a deserving winner here at Pocono and a deserving winner of the championship. But maybe, if the yellow had been thrown, I could have maybe passed a couple of cars and it would be in a closer fight at Road America. And, like, the thing is, they do that kind of stuff sometimes in real life, okay? Marcus Ericsson at Indy, they could have finished the race under yellow, and that would have been an easy victory for Marcus, but they decided to throw the red flag because, it's racing. It would have been interesting with the yellow there. But at the same time, I have been advocating for less yellows throughout all the seasons we've had here, and ultimately, I think it was probably the right thing to let it go green. I don't know. Maybe Jessica has something to say about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a response from the steward. I think the incident you're referring to was Samuel spinning. I don't think he hit anything or anyone, which also would influence. I think he was also off the racing line, but wasn't the pit entry, so we'll get an answer from the stewards. One thing I have been informed of, though, Jesper, speaking of Jess, she's informed me that despite maybe a bit of disappointment tonight, you have won the Oval Championship. So congratulations on that one, even though it's a bit of a disappointing race today. Your prior performances and evening is still a top 10 today. You've won the Oval Championship, so that's something to keep your head high. And you're still in the title fight. Anything can happen at the last race. So as an Oval champion, take that confidence into the final one.
Yeah, thanks. I'll do that.
SMS might pull a Barber season 3. I don't know. Sorry,
Maybe,
I
yeah.
had to do it. I had to do it. Sorry, but all right. Well, yeah, same from my side as well. Yes, but congrats on the Oval Championship, and well, to you and Will both. Good luck next week at Road America, as you guys will fight it out for the championship. But for now, that's gonna wrap it up for us here from Pocono, as we wrap up the post-race stuff as well. So thanks everybody for watching, and for the entire season as well so far. Of course, next week we go to Road America, the final race, to decide it all. And also thanks, of course, to Danny for joining me once again. So yeah, like I said, next week Road America. See you all then. Take care, and see you all at the same time.